It seems like the farther south I go, the less gas stations are willing to give you gas before you pay. It's even in Chicago or south of Milwaukee, it's always prepay gas, prepay. It's kind of annoying. But the farther north that you travel, it's just you pump it and pay it. No big deal. Yep. Another thing that I've noticed here in the United States is the farther south you go, the pay of labor is cheaper. It seems like for the same job description that pays $14 an hour here, only pays, I don't know, $9 down south. I never understood that. And now this could just be me, but it seems like the service and gas stations gets dirtier you travel south. It seems like it gets cleaner, you know, as you travel north. Big difference I've noticed when you travel on the East Coast compared to if you travel in the Northwest. Just really big difference. If anybody could answer that question, I would greatly appreciate it. And forgive me if I am mistaken, if that is a wrong observation. So far, this motorcycle has traveled, let's see, trip A right now says 328 miles. I forgot to reset it by the time I started. From the time I started this from the yard to where I set it was probably around 20 to 25 miles. So roughly around 350 miles plus another 35 more miles. One of my goals this year, possibly, if I could afford the time and money, is you see, I live right there in Sheboygan. Sheboygan, Wisconsin is right there by the edge of Lake Michigan. And I was thinking of doing a tour, a one-day tour from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, all the way to Mackinac Bridge up there in upper UP, Michigan, Upper Peninsula. That's what UP stands for. It took me nearly 20 years to learn that. Anyway, I would set out as from Sheboygan, Wisconsin to the upper Michigan Lake Mackinac Bridge, drive south on, what is that, Interstate 75 in Michigan, and then head that all the way down to Chicago, or Indiana, Michigan, Indiana, up to Chicago and back home. It's about 800 miles, I think it was. I calculated that several years ago. I'd like to do that one-day tour. Do about 800 miles in a day. Several years ago, my son joined the U.S. Army. And he was sent down in Port Andrews, or no. Oh boy, I can't remember the name of that port. But it's in Anderson, South Carolina. And it was his final graduation weekend that time. And I was about 100 miles or more from the house, or from the yard that day. And he asked me if I could go down there and join his graduation. Because it's pretty lonely to graduate something that importance and not share it with your family. But anyway, drove my truck back to the yard. My motorcycle was sitting there in the yard. Picked up my motorcycle, went home, took a quick shower, and drove straight all the way through Anderson, South Carolina. Boy, that was something else. I fell asleep a few times. But here's the difference between a truck driver falling asleep and a regular car driver falling asleep. You see, when car drivers fall asleep, you get that, you drop your head, and that wakes you up, and of the dropping of your head. The sudden quick drop of your head wakes you up, right? But the difference between us truck drivers is we have trained ourselves so much to stay awake that our head doesn't really drop anymore. We actually fall asleep with our eyes open. Your eyes are they're still open, but they're out of focus. And that's the most dangerous part of the most dangerous kind of falling asleep. Because I always thought when I drive my truck, I don't fall asleep. When I'm really tired, I'm not scared of falling asleep. I'm scared of literally passing out. I mean, it just lights out. I mean, it's not just a matter of falling asleep. It just, you hang on to the last thread of your might to stay awake, and it seems like that thread just snaps and the whole world just, you're done. And when I get to that point, I try not to get to that point. I usually try to take a 1 hour nap in the afternoon. By the way, that's one of the greatest things about my job as a truck driver, is how many jobs do you know that your bed is 2 feet behind you? Right? And I'm a creature of comfort. When I go to take a nap, go to sleep, I tell you what, I go to sleep with my underwear. I can't sleep with anything else on. I gotta get comfortable. I gotta find a sweet, comfortable spot before I fall asleep. Even when I'm dead tired. But anyhow, on the way down to Anderson, I was already tired. After driving all day long that day, going all the way down there, and by the time I got down to Anderson, South Carolina, I arrived there about 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. And get this, when I got to the base, they wouldn't let me in because I was wearing a pair of shorts, and I guess they wanted me to wear a safety vest, which I did not have. But I had a yellow jacket on, and they said that was good enough. But I had to wear boots, I had to wear leather gloves, pants, a high-collared, bright-colored jacket, and a helmet. I had to wear a helmet inside the base, and that just took the strength out of me. I mean, it cooked me. Talk about heat exhaustion. All said and done, I made it down there, made it to my son's graduation, and he wanted to show me around the base and introduce me with his classmates and friends. I just couldn't do it no more. I told him I'm done. Got me a hotel room, went to sleep, and just passed out. Actually, it was the next morning that I got there. The next morning was the graduation. So I had to wake up early for the main event, main graduation part. And then I had to get back to Wisconsin after the weekend. I had to get back to work. And on the way back was something horrible. I will never forget that. By the time I got to Louisville, Kentucky, or just north of Louisville, Kentucky on the Indiana side, it started to rain really, really, really hard. And guess what? My windshield or my windscreen got stuck on the up position, and I couldn't lower it. Something the mechanism the gizmo was damaged somehow, and it prevented my windscreen to go down.